Man, some days you cannot win for losing, huh?
May the force be with you. Try that.
Alright, so I've mangled all my audio settings. I have no idea what's going to happen here. Alright, am I audible now? Normal voice audible. Yes, no, maybe. Yeah, it was a feat. I can't hear Dave. Okay. So I did a whole bunch of experimenting with this new thing before I got started, and it had no audio. And I said, well, that's okay. I can do this without audio. Should I try it again? I'm going to try it for a second. I know what to do if it gags now. No, I'll show it to you later. Let's just get into business here. It's all new. So I'm doing OBS off of the Linux box. I don't remember if I did it last week or not. It's been such a busy week. Yeah, lots of screeching audio, and now your voice sounds a little garbled. Yeah, I have no doubt about that. The check. Okay, the mic is set to normal. I'm not over peaking. What happens if I do this? That doesn't change it at all. And I've got okay, I'm getting echo on that. All right, these are the normal settings. So if I'm a little garbly, then I'm a little garbly tonight. That's what I get for never screw around with settings 30 minutes before the show. Goodness gracious, what a foolish and stupid thing to do. I've got things unplugged for all that. Hey, it's life. That's what happens on May the 4th, right? So happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. You have to lisp, right? You got to sound like you're speaking Castilian. Okay, normal voice. Thank you for the text. Darn, it was a last second idea. Oh wait, I could do this. But I didn't test it that way. Well, it is Thursday night. And it is May the 4th of 2023. This is Star Wars Day. And this is ADRAMADA. Another Dave Rush Ask Me Anything Digital Alchemy. Where we love research. We love technology. We love STEM. We love the arts. And this show is devoted to disseminating information about the use of technology. And in particular, we're interested in how the advancement of technology impacts our daily and long-term lives. And today's topic so beautifully fits with that introductory line that I have in my every week script. I'm just loving this. I totally changed up topics in order to do this. Well, that and because I needed to. Topics are wide-ranging, from everything from computer tech and security, energy, automation, AI, music and movies, electric guitars and electric cars, and all points in between, and beyond. And even though the show says digital alchemy, we're good with analog. It's technology. It's my show. I'm not beholden to anyone, so not afraid to delve into controversial social topics, including religion. We will get into religion today. Sex, politics, COVID, whatever you got in mind. All right, so let's just start off. Let's see who's here and who I didn't run off with all that squealing, screeching feedback. What's really weird about it is I run everything through a mixer here. It's not a big mixer, it's just a little 8-channel mixer. But every input is filled, and I turned every input and output. Oh, it must have been coming through the laptop. Yeah. Okay, I see what happened. It came through the laptop speakers. Didn't turn those off. Well, everybody's here. Patricia Grace nailed in. Thank you for all your help yesterday, Patricia Grace. She can vouch for me. I've got sound issues on other systems. I think I have them resolved. Because of this amazing new setup that I've been developing over the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to show this to you shortly, because it's interesting. But she brought the show home at my time, 3:39, so about 3.5 hours or so before show start. Additional memes. They brought additional wonderful memes to modern society. Oh, there you go. That's the answer to the question. It brought more memes. I like answers like that, Patricia. I have answers like that in my posts today. So we're going to do that. Since it's settled, we can go back to talking about Linux tonight. We're going to talk about Linux tonight, too. I got Linux in the news. Oh, Scott's here. And if Scott wasn't here, I'd know he was here because he sent me a "you're really screwing up, Rush" text message. So sorry. That's just weird. Looking for Nerd Class 101. Is this it? This is so it. I need a nerdy hat today, but I got Darth here. I got 2 weeks ago. Our neighborhood holds an annual garage sale, so the missus and I walk around and see what's cool and what's not, and meet up with friends we haven't talked to in a long time. And I picked up a replacement chair for my other chair here, and it's a nice chair. It's comfortable. It's tall. It's adjustable. In fact, it's so adjustable that sometimes it adjusts itself. It just sinks. And what's really neat about this is I've never thought about it. Zillions of times in zillions of places in the world, you see something go wrong with an adjustable on wheels office chair. You know what they do with it? You keep sitting on it as the fabric shreds and the wheels come off and the armrests come off until it's finally unusable. And when it hits that point, it goes into the dumpster. Well, this is not unusable, and I could do that with this chair. Everything else is in perfect shape. I know now why it was $5, but it dawned on me after some 6 decades of life, there's probably a fix for this kind of stuff, especially in 2023. So I went online, and how do you fix a hydraulic adjustable chair? And there are 3 fixes. One of them is you get a piece of PVC and you mount it over the hydraulic piston. So it'll never go up again, it'll never go down again. It just holds it at a particular height. Okay, that's not a challenging thing. I'll put that in my back pocket. Number 2, there are padded hose clamps. You put one at the top of the travel, one at the bottom of the travel, and it does the same thing that the PVC pipe does. You can't go up anymore, you can't go down anymore. But if you're good with the height there, cool, and it's $5 for these nice little hose clamps that are designed to fit that piston. I bought that as a temporary solution. But then I discovered all over the place, they sell the whole hydraulic unit for about $20, $20 to $30. So I haven't ordered it yet because I want to get in there and measure everything very carefully and get just the right fit. But, you know, for a $5 chair and $20 or a few extra bucks because of the temporary solution, I'm excited. I will have a new, there it goes. It's starting to to work its way down. It just dropped about a centimeter. What an intro. Reading messages. Oh, goodness. All kinds of things are popping up. I thought we'd have killed off the screeching robots with dial-up. Good line, Jason. Well done. Yeah, that sounded like a horror movie murder, didn't it? I like that. Okay, normal voice. All the wrenches are here. Tullowit's here. Scott's here. And happy Star Wars Day. We had a big company meeting. Twice a month on Thursdays, we have a big company meeting where if you're in town, you're expected to turn up. And every morning we have an electronic check-in, which isn't mandatory. We do it for fun, some of us. And I don't miss that much. And I think probably because I get up and get started earlier than most people. I start somewhere between 4:30 and 6 a.m. And I like being the first one to post the I'm in. I used to do, as part of my greeting, a GIF or an image or something like that. I've abandoned that now. I've gone minimalist. My greetings usually start WOOF, WOOF, or kind of my own abbreviation for work from home, 1 or 2 tasks that I'm working on the day, and then my start time. But sometimes I'll add a little bit extra. Today, I added It's Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. And if you're going to the meeting, wear your Star Wars regalia. So a little while later, I hit the road, headed down to the meeting with Uncle Vader online. I was the only one. What a disappointment. And a company full of supposed nerds. Dave is the only Star Wars guy. DQ, hola, my friend. Nice to see you back. I want to say your full name, and I know it, but it's gone. Sorry, it'll come back to me. Politics is okay. Oh man, politics has been fun this month. Yep, it stopped. Replaced the hydraulic piston. There you go. So Scott's reading my mind. Exactly right. The trick, of course, is there's a bottom mount diameter, there's a top mount diameter, and then there's the throw, and there's the overall length. So you got to get all those right. You are vindicated. Kind of sad, not at all. Channel locks on the piston. Yeah. If only I had 3 hands. You guys, I love this group. You are just beyond hilarity. Well, all right, let's start things. We're not going to run long today because we can flex with today's topic. But I got a lot of tech news this week. Some of it just very exciting for me, hopefully for you. First and foremost, in my favorite part of the planet, of the techno planet, a new Raspberry Pi OS was released yesterday. Yesterday was the 3rd, yeah. It's not going to look much different, but I wanted you to be aware of a couple of the key things. First of all, there's a new kernel. And the 6.x Linux kernel has been out for a while, and Raspberry Pi has been fixed on the 5.15 kernel. So they upgraded to the new LTS 6.1. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. That's all. I won't dive into the guts of it. They've always used Chromium as their default browser. They updated it to the new Chromium 113, which brings web GPU support, and that improves a number of web app performance. Updates to the Real VNC Viewer, the Real VNC Server, Mathematica, MATLAB. This one's cool. They've updated the VLC hardware accelerator, so better performance when playing videos. They've updated some of the camera-oriented apps. Updated the Raspberry Pi Imager. I haven't downloaded it yet. I just read about it today. I've been a little swamped, so I will download and install it this weekend and start running it next week. I did run into some really exciting news this week related to Raspberry Pi. Brave, my browser of choice for the last couple of years. 2.5, 3 years. I know I switched to it before the COVID lockdowns, so it was before February of 21. Anyways, Brave, and I've been banging on their door all the time, talking to their tech people and screaming and whining, and I go to their Discord and to their Reddit forum and whine periodically and get people behind me. Yeah, why aren't you doing this? So where the heck is Brave for ARM? Or more specifically, where is it for Raspberry Pi? It's out! Brave is available for Raspberry Pi. That's the good news. The bad news, it only worked on the Raspberry Pi 64-bit OS. And for the most part, we still use the 32-bit OS. Why not just use 64-bit, Dave? It's backward compatible with 32, isn't it? No, it's not. It's not x86, which in Windows terms, oh God, that's a piece of news we got to talk about. We got to talk about Windows chip. Anyways, x86 is all the 32-bit stuff from Windows and 32-bit CPUs and 64. But that isn't the case with 64-bit OS. It's not backward compatible with some 32-bit apps. So if you're going to run it, you're running it for a particular reason, because you've got this particular app or these particular apps, and you are not dependent on incompatible 32-bit apps. So I don't have any Raspberry Pi OSs around here that are 64-bit. I've got other 64-bit OSs running on Raspberry Pis, but not Raspberry Pi OS. I use it on occasion when I'm doing a demo or an experiment or a lab or something, but for daily production stuff, it's always 32. This may be my impetus to move at least one Pi just to have 64-bit running all the time. This isn't tech news, but let's share ever so quickly as we mark the passing of Gordon Lightfoot. The church bell will ring one time. I'll be watching for Tullowit's response on that. AMD made a big splash announcement. They've got new chips that are going to outperform the Apple chips, the M1 and M2. Okay. Then a quieter app happened. They are working with Microsoft so that Microsoft could potentially have, as Apple is doing, their own chip. It's early. I don't understand what that means yet. They're not being real clear. Are they going to have a line of computers that will compete with everybody else's and will have these new special chips in it? Are they trying to compete with AMD x86 and Intel 86 series? I don't know yet, but it's something to keep our eyes on. I'm just following my notes in order here, which aren't necessarily in a good order, so bear with me for a second. I just want to set a table a little bit here and mention two upcoming topics, very short-term topics. I may have mentioned one of these in the past. The other one I've just added in the last few days. We're going to talk about, I did mention this last week, but I'm going to show you how to verify a downloaded file using hashes, in particular ISO files. Another upcoming topic, love this one. I'm going to do a show on licenses, right? Not the proprietary ones, we'll certainly mention those, but all the free and open source type software licenses like GNU, like MIT, like the Apache license. Excuse me, I got to do something here. We'll get back to that slide in a moment. I just had to do something and cover up my screen whilst I was doing it. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about the difference in software licenses and what they let you and what they don't. In the news today and yesterday, Google has enabled passkey authentication for on all major platforms to any of their services. So no longer will you need a password. At least that's their plan for the future. You can use passkeys, which include biometrics, fingerprints, face recognition, local pins, stuff like that. So they're trying to set the stage, and they've done this before and been successful. They were one of the big promoters of MFA and 2FA, multi-factor and two-factor authentication. And it's achieved broad adoption because of the improvements on security, right? So here comes the next phase of it. Also in the news this very week, Google Chrome. A lot of you use Google Chrome. You know that when you go to an HTTPS site, if you look on the left side of the browser bar, you'll see a padlock. That tells you that it's HTTPS. It's a secure connection. It doesn't say, unless you do multiple clicking or right clicking or things like that, HTTPS://. You just see the lock. That's going away in version 117, which is coming out next. The lock will be replaced with the tune icon, which it says does not carry the same trustworthy implication. I haven't dug into this yet. I don't know what this all means. But again, something for us to all research and dive in. All right, let's go back to chat feed. Yeah, Gordon's gone. And it's really weird. I have a Sirius radio, not Sirius, but Sirius XM radio beside me when I'm working. It's on all the time. I give myself an hour of news a day, and then I'm all over a variety of channels. And yesterday, even though Gordon passed like 3 days ago now, yesterday's the first time I heard a Gordon song getting played in memoriam. Certainly heard plenty of them on there in the past. Hard not, let's see, not hard to outperform Apple. I just felt a disturbance in the force as if millions of Apple users, I think it suddenly screamed and then nothing. That's very good. I see what you did there. Microsoft chip will be called Wintel. We certainly called the Windows and Intel platform together for many decades, the Wintel platform. This will be more of a WinAMD, a Winam. What are you saying you're kidding about? I have to go back and did I miss something? Come on. All right. So I go back to 07. I see, hey, oh, Dave, good to see you. And then the next message I see from you is, just kidding. So, okay. So you're not good. I know you're not. Oh, Microsoft. Okay, yeah, that's the Wintel comment. Okay. Yeah, called tune. Somebody look it up. And post a 200-word explanation. So, man, are we going to do lines from Gordon? You know, I can call him Gordon because we're so tight. All right. That's news of the week. Observation, rants, personal stuff. Here, just a quickie. I want to show you some pics of the week. Technology, things like that. I'm even going to do a little 3-minute video here, and then we'll get on to Uncle Topic. Let's see, what do we got here? Slideshow viewer. We can move that. The scaling on some of these pictures is abysmal, and I can't get them any better given A, limitations of OBS, and B, how much time that I've had to experiment with it on Linux. So, but I want to show you my video setup that I've been screwing with lately. Historically, my setup has always been my Windows laptop and a line going straight to what on this image is monitor 1, which is right in front of me. And then my Linux, initially when I had one Linux box, it was direct wired to monitor 2, and there was a problem with that because whenever I wanted to play with a Pi, I would use monitor 2, so I'd have to unplug it and plug it back in. Well, then I got the second Linux box, in fact, third, traditional x86 Linux, and so I got a KVM. So now I can use one keyboard and one mouse, and while they're drawn wired here, they're wireless. They feed into the various Linux boxes. We feed the video output into the KVM, and it in turn went to the monitor. But this past week, I've added an HDMI matrix. It's got 4 inputs and 2 outputs right now. I will probably upgrade to a 4x4 instead of a 4x2. So here I can put another Pi into input 2, something else into input 3, and then because it's a matrix, I can send any of these boxes output to either monitor. So right now, this is how it's wired, and I've got the Linux box coming through monitor 1 in front of my face, and my Windows machine going over to monitor 2, which is buried off over there on the side. So it's a neat and interesting setup. In other completely unrelated news, oh yeah, kid graduates. Today was his last thing to do in class, so now he's skating until we turn up for him to walk the stage next week. And the kids like Snoop, so while we did splurge and buy a bottle of Dom Perignon, I also bought an $8 bottle of Snoop champagne, which I am just terrified to put on my tongue. But we're going to give it a run. The last big piece of the house reconstruction is about done. And it is the stairs. So I got rid of the carpeted stairs. I resurfaced all of the treads with this nice birch tread. And we puttied all the holes in it. And you can't see the tape now, but it's there. So that's that's no tape. This is just putty on it. So you can kind of see putty hole, putty hole, putty hole, putty hole. And it's same for all these. So we gave that a day to dry. Then we sanded it all and taped it all off. That is the biggest job of just about any kind of surface prep. The pros painted these risers with appropriate, it's not matte, it's gloss white. But we've got this all taped off and ready to stain. And the problem with that is my missus's office is upstairs. And she comes down 4 times a day, plus bedrooms upstairs. So we all come down 1 time a day and go up. And stain takes 24 hours before you can do anything with it. Give it a light sand and then start the poly. Each of the polys takes 24 hours. But that's the goal here. Saturday morning, we get up early. We take anything we need downstairs. And we're going to stain this. You can't see it very well, but there's a dark wood floor that I put in a couple of years ago after a hurricane. Okay, you can see it right here. So that'll be the same color as the stairs. And then we poly it. That's going to take a month to do because of travel and all that good stuff. But that'll be the last item. Huzzah! Checking my notes here. No. Headway. I went to bed the other night after working late here. I know that there are, I mentioned this a week ago, but I'm going to extend my notes. I got through the Picard Series 3, Season 3. And there's plot holes all over the place. There's big ones. 2 big ones that really bothered me. And then I went to bed the other day after a late night, and I realized, oh my gosh, the biggest plot hole in the whole epic series lasts for all 10 episodes. It's gigantic. So if you want to talk to me about the huge plot hole that I believe exists, I mean huge. It's the core plot itself. It's horrific. It's amazing. You want to talk to me? Catch up with me on the Total Seminars Discord channel. I'll put the link up for that. I'm a nice guy. This show has nothing to do with Total Seminars, but most of us participate there. And if you're not already a participant there, it's a great place to get together and study and meet people and have fascinating topics and conversations. It's a really good show. All right, there's that. I guess, well, as long as I'm doing that, I'll put my contact emails if you would rather contact me directly and talk to me in that format about the great plot hole of Picard for the entire bloody season. I'm happy to do that. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. But rumor is that wouldn't be the first time. All right, there's contact info if you're feeling the need. All right, I want to show you one other thing. There is a show that I watch periodically on YouTube. It's a live show. It's a local radio personality who triple casts. His show is on the radio, and he does it on YouTube and Facebook, and I don't know what other platforms, but if you tune into his platforms early, he has a long-running video. Now, I always tune in with YouTube, so okay, I want to see this long-running YouTube, or this video on YouTube until the show's ready to start, and then it stops. And I said, I want to do that for my show. I would like a little 30-second opener video that I can fire off, or that will automatically fire off if I'm running late. So the missus and I got together. We shot some video this week. I edited it all together a couple of evenings, and it's ready to rock and roll. And then I said, okay, now how do I do it? And the feature has been removed. The capability has been removed from YouTube. You can't do that anymore. What a bummer. But I want to show you what we developed because I thought it was kind of fun. It was kind of interesting. It's 3 minutes. It still needs to be cut down to 30 seconds for other platforms, but I'm going to share it with you anyways. And this is what caused all the squealing. I think I got the problem solved, but if not, we know what to do now. All right, ready? And I don't know if there's going to be audio on this or not. That's one of the challenges I'm working on. I can't hear the audio, but I know it exists because it came through on the feedback system. There's 6 vignettes here. You gotta love this one. This was, we did the toothpick trick in here. This I got a new controller in the other day, and well, watch me while I test initiation on it. So watch the lights on the pads by my right hand. Yeah, there we go. Lighting up, lighting in sequence on the left, and then the right, so right and left. And okay, cool. Fire up the cluster. There's lots of details in here. There's Easter eggs in here. If you're not watching, catch this later on the archive and watch this again. That was real. I'm getting all hooked up and I'm ready to go plug it in, and I realized, hey, one of the power cords is out. Then I realized this one's out too on the bottom one. I forgot that. This is real. This was in a dusty room. I have another video like this on my regular page that I use for a class that I teach every month. Putting together an R-Pipe Pico project. What is that shirt? Where are we? 2 minutes in out of 3. Along the way of this project, I needed to find some non-royalty music, some royalty-free music, and I found a nice site called Pixabay, Pixabay. It's royalty-free. You don't even have to do acclamation with this stuff, but I do an acclamation at the end. But this is real, by the way. I'm putting this crimp together, broke out both the magnifying glass and my glasses. And if you're watching this in full screen, it's perfect. It's done correctly. And I had done the first one, and I just slapped it together, and I realized it's wrong. And when you're looking at it in full screen, you can see it. And I thought, you know what, Tulowit or Andre de Goyert or somebody's going to catch me on this and say you built it wrong. So this was the plan. It'd be a countdown, and then when I hit 1, I would go bing, but now it's just going to go back and cycle. And hey, welcome to Thursday's show. So that was a lot of fun to put together. All right, let's check messages, and then let's start on project. Today is the most interactive project that we're ever going to do, because we're just going to talk together, and I want your feedback. I want your participation. This is going to be so cool. So I pushed back the IPAM and DDI projects a week because I found an interesting SME, and we've been in communication, and I'm trying to learn from him, and more importantly, I'm trying to get him to come on and talk about real world. He is a DDI consultant is his basic title, and bottom line is some company says we either have a DDI set up, remember that's DNS, DHCP, and IPAM, and we need it to be improved or fixed or whatever, or we're an organization that has achieved the size where it's time for us to evaluate and perhaps implement DDI, and this is a person who does that kind of thing as a consultant or contractor. So hopefully I get him on next week. If not, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next week. So with that pushed back, in honor of today being Star Wars Day, I want to open a truly interactive discussion on what Star Wars have brought to society. This is a common discussion among Trekkers. There are Trekkies, there are Trekkers. I would qualify myself as a Trekker. I am not totally entrenched and live and die for it. I enjoy it, I like it, I want to talk about it. But I'm not going to dress up as Scotty, even in his fat days, and go to Comic-Con. There are costumes and personas that I would do over that. Nonetheless, we're going to include Star Wars or Star Trek in here. And Star Trek is really cool because when this discussion comes up, people kind of focus on the technology that either was, instituted, was conceptualized, there we go, in Star Trek, and it achieved fruition because maybe somebody was inspired, or maybe it was just prescient and they came up with something, and somebody later came up with something in the real world and said, hey, that's just like they did in Star Trek. There's one particular example which gets a lot of discussion these days. There is somebody on the old original series production team who has taken the position that they invented the iPad. Now, they certainly had some pad device that may or may not have been a screen-based. We never get to see the screen of the thing, but Yeoman, what's-her-name, runs around with it, and Kirk grabs a stylus and signs it or makes notes on it and hands it back to her. And that is being credited by at least this one individual and some, therefore, other team members from the production team as the first iPad. And, well, of course, we got iPads today. And there are people who argue that communicators are the beginning of cell phones. Well, there's been radio communicators and walkie-talkies and things like that for 75, 80 years. So open for discussion, but you get the idea. But I want to carry this further because then what happens with the Star Trek discussion is what sociological things did they bring? Roddenberry was adamant about certain rules in his Star Trek universe. And one of them is that at least on Earth, the wars are done, peace is achieved. We find less than peaceful things outside of the Earth or with pre-Roddenberry universe where, Wrath of Khan, the original Khan, not so peaceful a guy, kind of a warmonger. But in the Roddenberry world, peace is achieved and there's no argument over religion or politics or whatever it is, and everybody's happy. And I got to tell you that the team from Next Generation was happy in one respect about Roddenberry's passing because those rules could then be relaxed. You could have strife amongst crew members. That was, again, a big no-no in the Roddenberry universe. So, nonetheless, you get this sociological impact. And the same is true for Star Wars. So what I'm looking for is your thoughts. What came in technologically based on the content of the movies or shows from Star Trek or Star Wars? What came in sociologically? Also, ancillary. What improved or went the other way around? And the same for the first two content. What negative things came in as well as positive things, technologically speaking and sociologically speaking? How about when it comes to entertainment and filmmaking? Man, I hate when I brain fart on an important name. Director, Star Wars. Nonetheless, he worked a deal where he got all the marketing rights as part of it. And he was the first mogul that resulted from Star Trek marketing. So obviously some cool I can never say this word, cinematographic. Fine. Movie making. How did movie making change as a result of this? And whatever else you got. So let me go back and forth here. Now, one of the things I tried to avoid doing is research on this. I wanted to be thinking about these concepts myself, and then once I made my own notes, then I went and did some research. So let's see who's thinking about this. Hotel time. I had a bunch. Let's go back here. Okay. Scott Jernigan. Lightfoot was a prolific songwriter. Check out Gordon Lightfoot's songs. Very good. I will do that. I too, maybe I mentioned this to you last week. I had to, I'm doing an ever-growing change list, playlist for an upcoming gig. Bride keeps sending me every couple of days a few more of these and one of those and 2 of these. Sent me one last night that I haven't done, or 3. But she said some Bacharach songs. Okay, Burt Bacharach. I always thought, I knew he was a prolific songwriter. How's that? But I always thought that he did sing some of his own, and he didn't. He wrote for everybody. And when I went and tried to pick some of the popular ones, that this is for her parents, and she's older than me, so we're going to go early Dionne Warwick and farther back than that. He's got about 400 hits. Not including the not-so hits, and of course everybody you've heard of, and lots of people that you haven't heard of. I was hearing the song as Dave mentioned him. Very nice. The song I heard yesterday was Carefree Highway, which I've always gotten wrong. I only learned in the last year that it was Carefree Highway. I thought it was Every Highway. Tullowit knows the word for that. I never remember it. When you mishear the words of a song, there's a specific. Tullowit, I had a whole bunch of Gordon lines planned, but the feeling's gone, and I just can't get it back. I got suckered. You're a beast. Infused with CBD. What a long ordeal it's been. Sorry, I would go, what a long, strange trip it's been. All jokes aside, let me know how Snoop's champagne is. I will. I expect to find myself hanging over the porcelain god. There's no holes, Dave. There's only opportunity for imagination. You're always so pithy. Not mistakes, happy accidents. Can I bring myself to read all these? Why not? Just a beat and some new music. Oh, Island Vibe. Again, the name of the song, I think it was in the credits. What was that? It's Black Box Jonna something E. I've got it in my notes. But again, you can find it. Yeah, if you look for Black Box, 2 words, on pixabay.com, you'll find it. Lots of interesting stuff on there. I spent a lot of time trying to pick one that would work for that. Look, you do that with everything, right? You can clean something all day long and wipe it, and you're going to look at it and you say, oh, that's just that one little... Okay. You use Pixabay, Iso Republic, and Unsplash. Okay. We use, at work, something else. Escapes me. IPAM was interesting. Thank you. We're going to do deeper IPAM. IP scaling was, you mentioned. Yes. As IP scales, you need IPAM. As IPAM scales, you need DDI. George Lucas, thank you very much. Star Wars taught me you can be the hairy furball and be one of the main players. Roar! What's the song? One Republic. What's their song? You Had a Bad Day. That's sorry. I've ever since I heard that the first time, I've called it the Wookiee song. Yes, you may sit in the corner. Lightsabers became smaller and more affordable. So there are people who have created something close to a lightsaber. They're basically arc things, but you know, it's not just lights anymore. They're poking around with energy. It's kind of cool. Didn't realize Pixabay had music. Oh, okay. Yeah, they've got like 6 different topics. There's videos on there and music and images. Yeah, good to know. All right. Well, let me get into some of my thoughts and some of my research, and we'll go from there. Lucas invented a completely new thing with Star Wars in an environment that he called future used. So much of the sci-fi that came out before then, and we're talking the 60s B movies and up through very early 70s, most of the space stuff, the ships and the space stations and the were shiny and new and neat and gorgeous. And he introduced mess and dirt and laser blast scars and war scars. And everybody has followed suit since then. He developed a lot of cinematic techniques. But that was one of my favorite ones that he came up with. Yeah, okay, that's just philosophy. I'm not going to get into that. I like the idea of philosophy. We got something that... This was the first defining release of a movie. Mondegreen. Thank you. I know it when I see it. I never know it from the top of my head. But portmanteau I can do all day long. Mash together 2 words like Wintel. That's a portmanteau. This was the first summer blockbuster, and Hollywood tries to follow suit now every year with a blockbuster, or 2 or 3 of them. It was one of those movies, it was one of the first movies where you didn't see it once or twice. You saw it 5 or 6 or 10 times at the theater. Then of course the wackos out there, they see it 400 times. You get the idea. Musical landmark, Plastics. I don't know about you, it still kind of bothers me, the Wookiee song. I love it. Sorry. I can do that all day long. We'll be in the car, 2 or 3 of us, and one of them will just go, Plastics. So all of the stormtroopers wear plastic stuff, right? They look plasticky. They look like they came out of an injection molding machine or a vacuum molding machine. And that's just from that day, from the initial to today. It bothers me. Fandom, transformed special effects. This is one of my favorite things. You get anything wacky and weird and mostly good, somebody's going to adopt it. And sure enough, the Jedi / the Force became an adoptive thing for a lot of people. They associate with it. They kind of believe in it. Some of them, of course, probably really do believe in it. Where's the spec? I got a number here in my notes. Okay, let's do it this way. Really? There we go. In 2001, in the UK census, 390,000 people stated their religion as Jedi. You gotta love that. Who knows what the numbers are now? It's 25 years later. But wow. Freaking cool. Anything else good here? I can read off this list all day long. It's a huge list. Kind of believe in the Force. Yeah, I know. It's real. I'm sorry I didn't say that. What is that? What's the line? Somebody help me here. Something and hokey religions or ancient religions are no match for a good blaster. Is it lightsabers and ancient religions or hokey religions? Oh. Okay, so I knew a little bit about Space Invaders. I haven't read some of these specs that I just copy-pasted and figured I'd get into them today if there was time. But Tomohiro Nishikado is the designer of, excuse me, Space Invaders. And the one interesting factoid that I learned about it is, you know how it gets faster and faster as you shoot more of the bad guys? That's not in the software. It's because the CPU is less busy managing all of the large list of them. So, and they just say, that's kind of cool. We'll keep that in. Well, also, apparently, in 1978, while he was designing it, he wasn't sure what to shoot, what the bad guys were going to be, and he saw Star Wars, and that inspired him to use aliens. So isn't that kind of cool? Because it could have been anything, right? No, not doing that, not doing that. Inspired by The Empire Strikes Back, 21-year-old Weird Al Yankovic starts his career as a comedian and records Yoda, a parody of Lola from the Kinks. And that got its first play on Dr. Demento. That's kind of a neat thing. All right, I'm not going to read off all of this. You got nothing thrown in here, so we'll call that. What did I just do there? Portmanteau is a Jamiroquai tribute band. Okay, thank goodness. Or Quay, if you prefer. I don't know either band. That's not unusual for me. I don't know every band, and I certainly don't know every tribute band for them. But I do know all the major tribute bands. I think it's a great story. One of the tribute bands for Queen, after Freddie Mercury passed and Queen said, hey, we want to get back out on the road, they started checking out all of their tribute bands, and they picked, what's his name? I never remember his name. That's not Sometimers. That's just a mental block. But either way, they picked one of the singers picked a singer out of one of the tribute bands, and he's just kicking butt with it and turning it into a real career. He's acting and doing all kinds. The Lucas Dirt Grime laser scars are so different from his stereo. Oh yeah, right. THX 1186, which is almost watchable. I forced myself. It's like the Silmarillion. Okay, you have to read it, right? If you've read every Tolkien thing, you have to read the Silmarillion. You go literally blind about a third of the way through, and you have to braille. It's not braille. The book isn't braille. You have to just be very sensitive and feel the ink to get through it. It's not doable. It's not readable. And THX is not watchable, but I've watched all the way through. What was the other horror movie? Not from Lucas. Yeah, it'll come to me. Plastic Suit couldn't hit the side of a barn with a blaster. That was kind of my joke back then. John Wayne could win the galaxy far, far away with a pair of 6-shooters. Believe in the Force. Do or do not. There is no try. B. Han Solo line for sure. Yeah, it was definitely Han's line. Hokey religions and ancient weapons. There we go. No match for a good blaster at your side, kid. Thank you, Scott. Oh, rats. I wanted that to be real. I was going to go look at the band. Jamiroquai. Surfing the other day. New movie. Mark Hamill was in a movie where he didn't play Luke. And he did a decent job. It was nice. The missus and I watched it and enjoyed it. The reason the Alien 2, got a green light was because of Star Wars' success. What came out of it? Paul Simon and Carrie Fisher. What a tragedy for Carrie. I like Paul, but he's just not good in relationships, from what I know, public. Dystopian cyberpunk anime film Akira, released in Japan. Loved that movie when it first came out. I was overseas when that happened. Influenced heavily by Star Wars. All right, we getting near the end here. Yeah, it's 58. All right, well, let's wind this puppy up. There's a lot more going on here, and I'm building the archive for all this stuff to go on site. You'll be able to download this stuff. Digged into more. Titanic hits theaters in '97. James Cameron gets a lot of his influence from Star Wars, etc., etc., etc. I do want to point out a couple of things just to close this topic. I'm going to go back to the Star Trek thing. I have never seen this mentioned anywhere else. Technology that moved from Star Trek into real society. And I was thinking about this over the last couple of days while I was coming up with this topic. I've mentioned one, but there's two, maybe three, depending on how you argue it, that I have never seen mentioned. Maybe they're just so obvious. Maybe they're the elephant in the room. First of all, because it's so much in the news in the last 3 months, it's certainly been a little more subterranean before that, not as mainstream, but artificial intelligence. Now, we've had artificial intelligence concept movies for a few times, always dystopian and, never really fleshed out. Star Trek brings us M5. M5 is an artificial intelligence with a conscience. That's cool. And so that leads us on to possibly, fearfully, the latest iterations of AI. Are they conscious? Do they have emotion? There's so much to that. So I was like that M5 was a precursor. Now, there was Prometheus before that, as far as the first full-length movie that does AI. Tolo and I have talked about that. But the other thing, elephant in the room, Star Trek. What's on the bridge that you have in your living room right now? A device that has two technologies that's come to play in the last 20 years or so, 25. Flat screen monitors and TV, right? The big monitor up on front, which of course was a green screen or blue screen back then. And the size, right? Big screen monitors and TVs. And while they kind of were experimenting back in those early days in the 70s with Jumbotron used great big LEDs, 10 millimeters and larger. So it's not something you can get close up to like that screen, and certainly like what we have today. So can we summarize this? Besides some cool tech, arguably cell phones, certainly tablets, interactive computing. I never got into that. That was one of something I was thinking about. So Kirk and Spock back in the day, they would talk to computer, listening, with the original Majel Barrett's voice. We do that today. We talk to our computers. They talk back to us. They do so sometimes formulaic. What time is it? It is 3:04. Or Chat GPT. Tell me what time it is in Japanese with a North American Southern accent. So it's all there. It's cool stuff. All right, anything left in the chat stream before we wind this thing down? DQ's Balin. See on Discord, you will indeed. Jamiroquai is an actual band. Okay, I'll look that up. Yeah, 11:30. I knew that wasn't right, but I wasn't going to correct you because I didn't know what the right one was. I couldn't have corrected you. If you like old movie sci-fi anime, check your Guyver. MacGyver has Mark Hamill in it, huh? That's cool. I knew Mark Hamill from Lee Marvin, war movie. It's not Thin Red Line. Big Red One. Big Red One. 80s sci-fi live movie. Oh, okay, Guyver. It's a movie. It's not MacGyver. Okay. Tonight. I got nothing else going on tonight. Well, everybody, thank you as ever and always. Fun show. ChatOpenAI.com. Yeah. I haven't touched it yet. I let others. I'll have others do it for me. I have a problem with it, which is stupid. I'm a little on the Luddite side for me, but got to do it. Scotty in the movie talked to a Mac mouse. Yes, he did. Hello, computer. Use the keyboard with Stuart Pankin. Love that character. Hey, anyways, let's close her down. I will see you next week a couple of times. Wish you the great rest of the week. Take care of each other. Take serious steps to stay healthy. If at all possible, call or visit your parents. And never forget, technology, man, today is about it, is great. But the greatest resource we have are still you and I. With that, good night. I'll see you on ADRAMADA next Thursday. I'll see you at the AMA next week. I will see you on Discord on Tuesday night, where Mike is going to do a study hall on Network Plus. So until then, good week, good weekend. I am out of here. Later, guys.